Yo, yo, yo. Good morning, everybody. April 23rd. It is Saturday. It is officially the weekend. Good morning, everybody. It's good to see you. Good to be back. Um, weekend content. So, Lost Ark today. We've been playing card games all week. So, we played through Inscription and we played about a day and a half of some Slay the Spire, which will continue on Monday. So more Slay the Spire on Monday. Today and tomorrow will be our weekend content, which is currently Lost Ark, and I'm excited to jump in today because we have the new update, which brings us South Vern, new continent to explore, a little bit of new content to just kind of dive into and keep pushing through and I'm loving the game. It actually gives us some stuff to do within the community together. It also allows us something to kind of break up whatever gameplay we're currently doing. Sometimes we get into some gameplay stuff that can be very long. We have some gameplays that can go 100, 200 plus hours. And having the Lost Ark weekend stuff really allows us a game to break up that long gameplay sometimes, which is really nice. So Lost Ark today, but let's go ahead and hop into our gaming news as we do every day. Try to stay current on what's going on in the gaming world, the gaming industry. Okay, let's hop over there. Move my camera out of the way. Perfect. 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 All right. Um, so Netflix bets on video games amid losses. We will read into this. Um, so we had a bit of a discussion the other day regarding the fact that Netflix is losing subscriber base. We had a bit of a discussion in our news segment regarding the fact that personally, I feel like Netflix is not providing the type of content that they used to me as a subscriber to their service. We had some other members of the community that kind of felt the same way. Funny enough, I came across a little, um, there you go. I came across this, well, I think yesterday, and I had to share because we were talking about Netflix in the news. I was not looking for this. It came across a site that I frequent, and it just happened to pop up. And I thought, well, that's just funny that we've been talking about Netflix recently, and here you go. So I thought that was kind of comical. It's pertinent for some of the stuff that we've been covering in our news segment, and yeah, I mean Netflix has incurred some significant loss here recently. Yeah. Uh, so we're gonna read into this. We'll talk a bit more about it. We know that Netflix is trying to find. They're pivoting a bit into gaming. There's a lot of money to be made in gaming. We'll talk more about it as we pull up this tab. Okay. We already read about the Paradox stuff with Vampire the Masquerade kind of being open source now for everybody to work on and create their own kind of versions of that game. We talked about that in yesterday's segment, I think. So go check out that April 22nd's edition of Gaming News if you want to get a more in-depth look at what that had to offer. All right, leaked gameplay shows Ubisoft's Fortnite-style PvP game Project Q. All right, we'll see what that is. Oh gosh, dude. I am really, really, really not a fan of this family, but because it has something to do with the gaming industry, we will pull it up and we'll take a quick look at maybe what this has to do with. So, Kardashian Roblox scandal continues to be messy and dumb. I haven't heard anything about this previously. I have no idea what this is about. We'll see. We'll see. Um, Not that I know anything personally about that family. Just everything that I know through what has been dumped in front of us through media and shows and stuff like that. I'm not a fan. So, um, um, how TV fell in love with video games. Uh, that's easy. People love video games, and there are a lot of very good stories in video games. So why wouldn't you adapt a lot of video game stories into television shows and movies? Because it just makes sense that people are going to dive into that content. We've read about the new wrestling game coming out. Look into the previous news segments for that as well. Pie Packer Cloud Gaming takes after Nintendo. I'm not sure what that's about. Let's take a look. We already talked about how Sony is basically just copying their model after Microsoft putting ads in PlayStation games. So, yeah. Nintendo Xenoblade releases early. Let's take a look. We get everything. CD Projekt looking into minstrel leave after GOG ellipses. Let's see what that is about. We already read about the Corsair stock falling right now. This is what I'll say. I mean, we just finished quarter one of the year, right? Quarter one is not typically a part of the year where companies see uh, stock soar. It's just not. Um, it doesn't mean that they want to see stock plummet or they expect to see stock plummet, but they don't necessarily expect to see stock climb, right? So there are also a lot of things going on right now, especially any kind of tech that has to do with needing to utilize chips. There's a shortage of microchips in the world right now, which makes a lot of tech, vehicle manufacturing, things like that. Stock's going to be a little bit rough right now. So, but it does look like that stuff's starting to turn around. So I would say that a lot of the tech related stuff, as far as companies and stock wise, is probably going to start turning around fairly quickly, unless they have some significant other issues going on. Epic Games makes PS4 console exclusive free. We'll take a look and see what that is. And we read about this already. Okay, let's change up our search here. I've already looked at a lot of that stuff. Hmm. Yep. Read. We know. Opinion: false promises plague video game industry. Um, yeah. Let's take a quick look at that. Pennsylvania man becomes 11th Pac-Man player to get perfect score. Huh. NFL VR video game launches on Quest and PlayStation this fall. We'll take a quick look at that. We've read about this already. Okay, we'll stop there. We'll stop there. A lot of that other stuff we've skipped past, we've already read in previous news segments. So I would just say, if you're interested, please go back check through some of the other news segments that we've done throughout the previous week, and you'll find a lot of that we've already seen. We've already skipped over, and we're not pulling up today. Okay. Um, let's start off with the Kardashians. Let's go. All right. Kardashian Roblox scandal continues to be messy and dumb. A scene in which Kim Kardashian's son discovered a Roblox game promoting a new sex tape raised a lot of questions. Uh, I mean, this would just be a little bit ironic, wouldn't it? uh, A source close to the Kardashian family has told BBC that the family denies allegations that it faked the discovery of Roblox game advertising a new Kim Kardashian sex tape for the first episode of its new reality series, The Kardashians. The incident, reported earlier this week, began when Kim Jong's son Saint showed her a game when he was playing on a tablet. She looks at it, shows it to her sister, and then says in a cutaway segment, "There was a picture of my cry face. Then I looked at it and it said something super inappropriate like Kim's new tape." The clip goes on to show her explaining in a phone call with her cry face on again, cry face, that it was a game someone made on the Roblox platform to promote the sex tape. Look, this is an issue though, right? And I have, before we move forward, I've expressed this continually. Roblox is a platform that is promoted as a safe place for children, right? And then you have this kind of stuff. Now, what I'll say is this is kind of a two-part scenario, okay? Um, this is not the first time that inappropriate stuff has been found on Roblox. That is for sure. Not even, I mean, far from it. Far from it. And unfortunately, um, there are more and more developers trying to create online gaming universes that are aimed at being places that are safe for kids. The thing is that is a very hard thing to manage because the anonymity that the internet provides people in general makes it very hard to distinguish between whether or not the people getting on a platform are actually children adults, in between, you know, what have you. Outliers of those. I mean, it's like, it's very tough, right? Now, what that means is that if a developer is going to create this kind of world, online gaming world that is aimed at being safe for children, it is actually the developer's responsibility to the utmost of their ability to ensure that there is no way for inappropriate behavior or content to be placed within that world that kids can gain access to, right? Children can gain access to. That's all there is to it. Now, on the flip side of that, in my opinion, this is a two-part system here when it comes to kids being in online environments. Um, it is also up to the guardian of these children to be paying attention to what these kids are gaining access to while they are online. Okay, whatever platform they're on, even if it appears to be a safe environment, you need to be keeping tabs because you can't ever be 100% sure they're not gaining access to something that is not appropriate, right? So uh, ultimately, it's the dev's responsibility. If they are creating a world that is being promoted as a safe environment for children, they need to ensure that it is a safe environment for children. They got to figure it out, but it is also the responsibility of guardians and parents. And look, kids are going to be kids. They're going to find ways to access stuff that they probably shouldn't be accessing. That's what kids do, man. But you know, ultimately, devs are going to be, if they're going to be promoting a place that's safe for kids, they've got to keep this kind of stuff out. Moving forward, though, now right here, this tweet: Kim Kardashian finding out Saint saw her Jiggy Jiggy video and ad on Roblox has me crying. I mean, is it not ironic though? Is it not ironic that the the you know the thing that actually made Kim famous, her child has now potentially gained access to, and she's like appalled. I gotta say, man, that feels like a little bit of karma to me. Roblox Corporation confirmed that it banned the developer in question and clarified that no explicit content had actually appeared on the platform. Text reference to the tape that got around our filters was quickly taken down and fortunately visible only to an extreme small number of people on the platform, it said at the time. We also swiftly took down the associated experience and banned the community developer involved with the experience. Despite the moving effect of Kim's crying face, some viewers questioned whether the incident took place in September 2021, but didn't come to light until the new series premiered on April 14th. Actually happened as it was portrayed on the show. For one thing, the sheer numbers make it unlikely. Roblox Corporation said in its most recent shareholder letter that Roblox's daily active user count has climbed to 54.7 million. There are currently 11.1 million experiences, the Roblox term for games, available on the platform. What are the odds that Saint West would be among the extremely small number of people to stumble upon the one game promoting Kim's sex tape while filming for the new show underway? Yeah. Beyond the raw numbers, the incident doesn't seem to line up with how Roblox actually works. This in-depth post on the KUWTK subreddit claims that Roblox's automated vetting process is actually quite effective and that it's extremely unlikely that the word sex tape or variant spellings would have been able to bypass it. Age restrictions, assuming they were implemented, would also have prevented Saint West from accessing restricted content. assuming they were implemented. That's critical. But the real issue, according to to Redditor SoundSense, is that it doesn't appear that they were in a game at all. They were on the thumbnail of the game that displays the title and description. They wrote, "So how could sex tape bypass the Roblox filter? I've even tested if I could upload a game with that word or many respellings of the word, and it literally prevents the game from being uploaded until I change the title completely." That, SoundSense wrote, leaves the three possibilities: that someone created and then played the game on Saint's account so he could see it and click on it; that someone searched through hundreds of thousands of little-known Roblox games in order to surface it; or that it was just a game that happened to use Kim's cry face that wasn't actually related to the tape at all, but was played up as such. Roblox developers Zonebody concurred with that assessment, telling the BBC that the chances of accidentally stumbling upon a game like that are astronomically small. There are two potential ways for Saint to have found such a game. Either he or the family actively searched for or even created such a game, or somebody else in their group of peers created it and shared it directly with the boy. Search of the show's subreddit reveals plenty of other threads sharing similar takes on the situation, questioning both the timing and the mechanics of Saint's discovery of the game. Still, while neither the Kardashians nor Fullwell73, the production company behind their new reality show, have commented on the claims, a source close to the family denied that the scene is fake. Yeah, right, dude. Whole show is fake. Give me a break. Kardashian wrote in an Instagram story that she was so grateful for people tuning in to the new show, according to the BBC. She also referenced the tape again. Yuck. Whatever. Yeah, the Kim's sex tape was originally recorded in 2002 and leaked in 2007. Eventually settling with the adult film company Vivid Entertainment to allow the distribution of the video. Yeah. Okay. So it sounds like some kind of promotion scheme, is what it sounds like. Good content for their show or whatever at the potential detriment of a child. I don't know, dude. Uh, Yuck, man. I don't know. Moving on. Pie Packer aims to be the Game Boy of the cloud gaming space. Okay. Discovered I discovered the retro cloud gaming service PiePacker the way it was probably meant to be discovered, not through a press release in my inbox or a pitch from someone in public relations, but when a friend mentioned it in a WhatsApp group and invited me to play. I'd never heard of it. Name sounded silly, but my friend said it had some cool old SNK games available to play. I watched the video on the website and it looked fun. The pitch is very simple: classic games playable instantly in your browser with, and this is an important part, multiplayer enabled and integrated video chat. It's cloud gaming and a virtual hangout rolled into one. It's free to play, and inviting a friend is as easy as pinging them a link. A few things struck me as instantly appealing about this concept. The immediacy of course, is something that all cloud gaming services share. The social element seemed important too, as did the way this resonated with the games on the service, which are largely local multiplayer games from arcades or from old home consoles. Simple, direct games that are designed to be played with someone right next to you. PiePacker, with its prominent video chat and easy game switching, puts the social experience before the games themselves, creates an online space for relaxed, chatty, informal gaming sessions with friends, and almost as a byproduct of this, it gets a lot closer to the original multiplayer experience of some of these old games than even online-enabled reissues can. It's a couch in the cloud. Lineup of games isn't stellar, to be honest. You won't find anything from heydays of Capcom, Sega, Konami, or Midway here. There are a handful of true gems like Metal Slug, Windjammers, and King of Fighters, while a deal with veteran UK outfit Team 17 has brought a few vintage Britsoft social gaming classics like Worms World Party and Sensible Soccer. PiePacker has also experimented with developing and publishing new indie titles for the platform, including the Bomberman style Arsene Bomber. I probably butchered that. Sorry. But this isn't really the point. The fun of PiePacker, once you're in and chatting, is to poke around its archive and try some of the random esoterica you might find there, such as the extremely fun Neo Geo Fighter Real Bout Fatal Fury, or the modern NES game Micro Mages, or the entertainingly dumb zombie brawler Night Slashers. Because you're with friends, it can even be fun to play something as objectively terrible as the PlayStation Kart Racer Scars for a few minutes. As a rule on Piebacker, the more mindless the game, the more easily conversation will flow, so you don't necessarily want to be too engaged anyway. Piebacker has yet to really make a name for itself, although it has attracted support from the retro community with a successful Kickstarter campaign, as well as investment from the LEGO Group, among others. It's not necessarily the future, but whether it succeeds or not, there is something there. A different way to conceive of cloud gaming, contrasting with high-tech approach of the likes of Google Stadia and Xbox Cloud Gaming. Yep. This is a very long one. That sounds cool, though. I'm not very familiar with Piebacker, but I'll probably look into it at this point. I'm not going to keep going with this article. I'll let you guys take a look at it. There's the link in chat if you're interested. But very cool. Very cool. Let me see. Do a quick scan here and see if there's anything else. I don't really think so. But cool, man. We might need to look into that. A big video game actually got released ahead of schedule. Top gaming news. Yeah. Yeah. Nintendo does the unthinkable. Delays are common in the video game industry where logistical and creative challenges make accurate scheduling nearly impossible. It's unusual to have a game released early, but Nintendo company is providing the exception to the rule, announcing this week that it will put out the new game Xenoblade Chronicles 3 on July 29th, about 2 months ahead of schedule. Usually, game developers eke every possible moment out of their timeline, working until the last possible minute to fix bugs and prepare for a day one patch, in which any lingering issues will be addressed. If a game is finished early, chances are that its makers will take as long as possible to try to make it better. After all, there's no such thing as a bug-free game. There have been a few cases over the past couple of decades where a game released earlier than expected, but usually it's a matter of days or a couple of weeks. Yeah. It's not clear exactly why Nintendo decided to release Xenoblade Chronicles 3 early. Unlike most of the other game companies, Nintendo operates its own platform, releases new games for it every month. It can be more flexible than the game studio that puts out 1 or 2 hits a year. Most likely explanation is schedule shuffling. On Friday, Nintendo announced that one of its other big 2022 titles, Splatoon 3, will be out on September 9th. Previously, that game had been scheduled for this summer. Okay, cool. Well, that's neat. I mean, yeah, it's true. So often, that even just getting excited about a release date for a game that you're excited about you can't get hyped about that anymore because quite often they get delayed, right? So I mean, the hope here is that the game is actually ready for release, and so getting it pushed up a couple months is okay. So upon release, it won't be a mess, right? That would be just horrible to see the game get pushed up for release, then get released and be a terrible release would be just brutal. So we'll see. Um, CD Projekt looking into menstrual leave after GOG announcement. In a huge step for equality in the workplace, both within game industry and beyond, GOG recently announced that it's started offering menstrual leave to its employees. This means that whenever period pains occur, affected employees can take as much time as needed off work to recover. Menstrual leave days will be fully paid, with GOG estimating that it will result in affected employees taking an additional day off per quarter. GOG is a subsidiary of Polish game developer and publisher CD Projekt, one of The Witcher and Cyberpunk 2077 fame infamy. Following GOG's announcement, I reached out to CD Projekt director Radek Grabowski to ask whether the menstrual leave initiative might also extend to the parent company, which totals around 1,124 employees. He replied, GOG is spearheading this initiative and we're looking into it further for whole CD project. Um, what you would rather see is this start at the parent company and trickle down, not have to see this at a subsidiary and be absorbed upwards. But I hope it does. So, all going well, we can see the progressive policy become standardized in one of the most famous game companies in the world, leading by example for others to do the same. As things stand, menstrual leave is almost unheard of in both video game and other companies. And only other the only countries that currently have any form of national menstrual leave are Indonesia, Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, and Zambia. The initiative to get menstrual leave implemented was spearheaded by GOG Culture and Communications Manager Gabriella Siminkowicz. I probably butchered that. I'm so sorry, Gabriella. Who told Axios that the new policy fosters inclusiveness by accepting that there are biological differences in the workplace. By giving such additional days off, we acknowledge these symptoms are real. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did. I can only hope that this policy will serve as a sign that GOG is an inclusive company that respects individual needs of its employees and that everyone can feel both safe and appreciated here. So, they're also going to give the same opportunity for men to have a day off to help take care of their spouses who are dealing with significant menstrual issues. All right, that's what's going to be the play here, correct? Or their significant other that might be dealing with that kind of issue, or maybe just I don't know equality, right? I'm glad. Look, um, I know that like menstrual pain for um, many women in the world, it can be excruciating and brutal and something that you don't want to have to deal with at work. So I am very, very happy that there are companies looking at incorporating this. That's the main thing. Okay, I am. I am. Epic Games makes PS4 console exclusive free. The PS4 is well known for its wide range of exclusives, whether proper or console exclusives. Its exclusive list includes the likes of God of War, Marvel's Spider-Man, Last of Us Part 2, Persona 5, Ghost of Tsushima, Uncharted 4, A Thief's End, Horizon Zero Dawn, Death Stranding, and Bloodborne. In other words, it includes some of the best games of the previous generation. Unfortunately for horror game fans, the horror genre is unprecedented, underrepresented, excuse me, in this long list of impressive games. But this doesn't mean the PS4 didn't have notable horror exclusives. Most notably, it had Until Dawn, and it also had Amnesia Rebirth. By the way, speaking of Amnesia Rebirth, come on, man. Amnesia Rebirth is free right now on Epic Game Store. So it just came up in this article. The game is literally free if you have an Epic Game Store account. Okay, so go grab it. It's free through the 28th. I just promote free game. If you can get a free game, I don't know how to beat that, really. I mean, free games are free games, right? So, Amnesia Rebirth, free. River Bond, free. Free games. I don't know. I know having. Hey, Wick, what's up?
Hey, shut your pie hole, buddy.
Sorry. What's up, dude? So just make sure everybody's aware. Play any of these free games? Potentially, dude. Potentially. Just depends. I mean, we play. I play games all the time. I'll never be able to get through all my library, man. Ever, ever, ever. You know what I mean? But having the games there as a potential option, I would say, is a good thing. I actually think we might end up playing Amnesia during Scaretober, potentially. Hmm. Yep. It got brought up last year during Scaretober. We didn't end up getting to it, but maybe, maybe. Of either of the free games that are on Epic right now, Amnesia Rebirth probably has a pretty good chance of getting played sometime in the future. Yeah, because I haven't played it before. How's your morning going, buddy? Uh oh, yeah. Okay, so free download of the game comes courtesy of Epic. Like I just showed you, in addition to River Bond, which has made one of 2020's most popular horror games free. Amnesia Rebirth. Yeah. Unlike PlayStation Plus, Prime Gaming, Nintendo Switch Online, Xbox Live Gold, and other subscription services offer free games. These free games are actually free and not behind any paywall. All you need is the Epic Game Store account, like I just showed you. Claim both games. Amnesia Rebirth is a survival horror game from 2020. It is the third installment of the Amnesia franchise and sequel to Amnesia: The Dark Descent. Um, Upon release, it got an 80 on Metacritic on PC. PS4 version at 75, but you would be getting the PC version on Epic anyway. So, um, yeah, and the next games that are going to be free are Just Die Already, Old People Mayhem Sandbox. This looks. I have no idea what this is. And then Paradigm. I don't know what either one are, but we'll check them out soon. Those are going to be the next free games. Um, it's just hard to argue with free games. Not that you'll play all of them or anything, but look, my library is fairly extensive at this point for Epic Games. And I even have some of the other Amnesia games, I think. Yeah. Or maybe not. Maybe not. But I have a ton of free games. Just Die is ridiculous. Have you played it, dude? Is it? It looks wild. It looks wild. I'll pull up the screenshots of it. I mean, my library. How many games do I have at this point? I have 140 games on here. I have 140 games on Epic, and I might have paid for one or two of them. It says 1 to 140. It's if that's correct, 140 games of mostly free, and we're talking some decent titles too. So I know having multiple games on or having games on multiple platforms is not ideal for a lot of people, but free games, man, and a lot of free games you get on here are pretty solid, pretty solid. So I don't know, consider it. Hard to beat free games. What were we looking at? The here, dude. Just Die Already. I knew it was gonna be wonky, dude. It looked crazy just from the. Oh my gosh, dude. Nice. Yeah, I knew it was gonna be something pretty wild like that. Nice. Yo, we need to actually talk about playing some some Myth Force, dude, at some point, maybe. Yeah. Hmm. Myth Force looks like it could be pretty cool. Okay, let's keep going with news. Keep going. So that's epic stuff. Uh, okay, here we go. Leaked gameplay shows Ubisoft's Fortnite-style PvP game Project Q. Ubisoft started inviting players to test a new Fortnite-style PvP game. Project Q. Closed test invite seen by VGC described the game as an innovative and modern PvP battle arena game. And leaked footage embedded below looks reminiscent, of Epic's hugely popular Battle Royale title. According to Ubisoft's private Project Q invite, Project Q is in early development and contains unpolished gameplay. One of the main objectives in this first playable closed test is to get your impressions on the team's vision for this new concept of game and on the core gameplay experience, it says. It looks like Fortnite. It looks like Fortnite. It legit looks just like Fortnite to me. Okay. I mean, if you're a Fortnite fan, then it might be up your alley. According to prolific leaker Tom Henderson, Project Q is being developed by Ubisoft Bordeaux, the studio which has typically provided support for games in the Assassin's Creed and Rainbow Six series. Project Q is said to have two game modes: Showdown, which is the game's take on Battle Royale, consisting of 4 teams of 2 players, and Battle Zone, a mode in which 2 teams of 4 players battle control an area on the map for as long as possible. Players get to pick their heroes, weapons, abilities, and skills, with the player being able to pick 3 individual wonders that can be mixed and matched. Weapons look particularly unique, with the game's arsenal including a deck of cards, fireworks, hammers, sticks, and paint guns. Project Q is yet another title first named in the now infamous NVIDIA GeForce Now Games leak. You can usually bet if you see a title leaked in the GeForce Now stuff, it's probably going to come out. GeForce Now database leak revealed several unannounced titles that would later be confirmed, such as the PC version of Final Fantasy VII Remake and remaster of Chrono Cross. NVIDIA confirmed at the time that the leaked GeForce Now database list containing God of War PC, Gear 6, and more was real, but it claimed the games on it were speculative. They always say that. Okay, well, Ubisoft's Fortnite game. False promises plague video game industry. Yeah, I mean, that's nothing new. Loot box, win big for $100. Better luck next time. I love it. I mean, I hate it, but this is a realistic. Yeah. Um, even if it's even if one is not a video game hobbyist, following the game community can be entertaining, as every minor inconvenience, imperfection, or delay has the potential to ignite a large controversy. Just go hang out in subreddits of where things like this get discussed. Although a quick glance paints gamers as whiny, entitled adolescents, many of the most memorable controversies explain why it has become such an emotionally volatile community. Greed. The average gamer has found a sense of community with other gamers.
Alright, that one was on me.
Cash, what's up, buddy? Only to have the spot slowly heated up by these large corporate developers who squeeze them for more money with every release. The drama that unfolds within the industry is a constant struggle between profit driven corporations who wish to financially drain their loyal fans and their fan base who use every minor inconvenience or delay as a sigil to launch an unsuccessful boycott. In 2018, Blizzard Entertainment faced criticism for its condescension during a reveal. Its fans long awaited the announcement of a new Diablo game. Condescension. Sorry. Yeah. This was with the the mobile Diablo. Only to be met with a hyped announcement for a mobile app. Yeah. When the crowds reacted negatively, Blizzard developer Wyatt Cheng retorted, "Do you guys not have phones, dude? I will never forget that." It may seem silly, but rather than listen to its consumers, Blizzard would follow the trend of profiting off of apps and then dismiss their disappointment. Yeah. Because Blizzard, at that point, had not been Blizzard for a while. Unfortunately. A year before, in 2017, Electronic Arts, one of the developers whose reputation is regarded as especially greedy, yes, broke the internet with Reddit's most downvoted comment ever, for which it received a Guinness World Record. EA released Battlefront 2, an anticipated title, which most of the content locked. To unlock some characters, it was estimated to take at least 40 hours of gameplay, or one could buy loot boxes to get more credits. When asked about this on Reddit, EA said the intent was to provide players with a sense of pride and accomplishment. Players argued it was a pay-to-win scheme. In 2018, Bethesda launched Fallout 76 and faced backlash for delivering an unfinished, buggy, empty game to players who had already paid $60 to pre-order the base game. And in 2020, CD Projekt Red's Cyberpunk 2077 had such an awful launch, it was pulled from Sony's digital store and refunds were granted. Although it wasn't made by a large developer, the terrible 2016 launch of the highly anticipated No Man's Sky supports a common pattern of overpromising and under-delivering. I will say here, EA Sports is terrible. Agreed, Cash. Look, EA Sports, not just EA Sports, EA across the board is pretty horrific. EA Sports at the top of that. EA is the main reason why I quit playing NHL. I was pre-ordering the NHL games every single year for like 4 to 5 years straight. I loved those games, but I could see where they were starting to, in my opinion, ruin that game, and I couldn't support EA anymore. I just couldn't do it, man. As much as I loved that game, it felt like they were ruining that title, and that's why I quit playing it. I hate EA. I hate that company. So what I'll say, you're totally right. EA, bleh. I don't even like. It just feels gross even saying EA. Oh, they actually make Knockout, really, really. Hmm. I I've caught just a little bit of gameplay, but I haven't been able to watch very much of it yet. Hmm. So wait, is EA is Velen a like subsidiary of EA, or is EA just publishing? Is EA publishing Knockout and Velen the dev? What's going on there? Hold on. Yeah, yeah. Velen's the dev. Velen's the dev. EA is the pub. See, there's a big difference there, though. Yeah, there's a big difference. There's a big difference. Okay, there's a big difference in uh, there's a big difference in now. Let me pull up Velen's link here as well. Yeah, privately held company. So they are not like a subsidiary of EA or anything either. They are their own development company, right? And there's a big difference in a game that is published, and that's like, so I'll give you a prime example. People don't always understand the difference between, and I'm not talking about you. I see this all the time though in the game we're playing today in Lost Ark, right? People are constantly blaming Amazon for stuff that happens in like Lost Ark, right? In a month or two, it'll be all Velen, no EA influence. Good for them. Good for them. Get out from underneath anything EA, as far as I'm concerned. I can understand needing a bit of help in the first place, but good night. And EA's got a lot of pull. There's no doubt about it. But what a terrible company! What a terrible company! I see people in game all the time in Lost Ark blaming uh, a lot of things within Lost Ark, like on just Amazon. Amazon is only the publisher of Lost Ark, right? Smilegate is actually the developer of the game, and I'll tell people in game all the time. I'm like, what are you blaming Amazon everything on Amazon for when Amazon's only the publisher of the game? And they're like, what are you talking? I'm like, Smilegate is the developer of this game. You understand that, right? And they're like, I don't get it. People just don't understand quite often the difference, right? So, but there is a huge difference. So, the fact that this game is actually devved by Velen is probably why, and not devved by EA, is probably why it's a good game. You know what I mean? But most games that are devved by EA are not all that great because all EA cares about is money, dude. It's just money, right? But I can understand certain developers needing to incorporate EA as a publisher. EA's got a lot of reach. They have got a lot of marketing. They can help get the game out there and stuff like that. But it's good to hear that apparently they'll be moving out from underneath EA. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Now, what I will say is where, and we've talked about this before, where I think No Man's Sky kind of really differentiates itself, sets itself apart from a lot of these other titles here, is that No Man's Sky, while one of the most notable, most terrible releases, especially in comparison to how hyped up it was, and it definitely is right up there with Cyberpunk and Fallout and Battlefront and I mean Anthem, all those terrible games, you know, that got hyped up and released that were just trash. No Man's Sky, and here's another big difference.
Alright, that one was on me.
Syke, what's up, buddy? No Man's Sky continued to be developed into the game that was promised. And if I remember correctly, most of No Man's Sky, if not all of it, but most of it, most of No Man's Sky content that came out to make the game into what was actually promised in the first place was free. Maybe not all of it, but I think a lot of it was. And here's the big difference though. Major dev, major dev, major dev, indie dev, small dev, right? So, or at the time at least it was. I think they're still pretty small dev. um, I think that's the difference, and you'll see that quite often, right? You'll see that quite often where, um, especially you watch some of these developers that started off as really focused on their games being very good quality when they were smaller development companies and really focused on wanting the games to be good. And then as they got bigger and bigger and bigger, the quality of their games went down and down and down. And because they turn into these big corporations, all they care about is money, right? Rockstar Games maintained a high quality reputation after releasing Grand Theft Auto 5 and Red Dead Redemption 2, but even they are guilty of exorbitant microtransactions with its shark cards. 2015, Rockstar ostensibly raised the price of GTA 5. Now they've even got some stuff going on, right? Rockstar does just before a Steam Summer Sale and touted a discount. A $60 game became a 25% off $60 bundle with a game and some in-game currency, which is incredibly misleading. Not the first company to be accused of price hikes before a sale season, but this time, the UK's Advertising Standards Authority actually admonished Valve, the owner of online retailer Steam. Some developers have flirted with false advertising. Both The Division and Watch Dogs were accused of graphical downgrades after unveiling at Electronic Entertainment Expo. All of the aforementioned barely scratched the surface of the controversies. Game developers are constantly ensconced in scandals, yet still manage to make millions. Yeah, big name developers have become increasingly shameless with loot boxes, microtransactions, and subscription models, not just for a game or online service, but now separate subscriptions for downloadable content access. Some companies have pledged no paid DLC, only to renege later. Yep, we see it all the time. All the time. While it would be great to just encourage gamers to stick with indie developers and forget rapacious AAA developers, even indie developers are guilty of accepting money during early access for a promising new game on Steam and then fleeing like bandits before finishing. Yep. I think that's why it's important that we really, really, really promote. Yeah, I mean that's what it is. But how can we not be like that? You know? How can we not be like that to an extent? The thing is, it's really up to us to hold these devs to a greater standard. I mean, I talk about that a lot, right? It is up to us as gamers and as the gaming community to hold the devs to a greater. Exactly. Exactly. We have to hold them to a greater standard, right? That's why, you know, how bad I've wanted to play Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate. The PC port's terrible, apparently. It was fixed by a member of the gaming community. They made a patch, a mod, excuse me. They made a mod to make the game perform much better. Square Enix never patched the game, from what I understand. It still hasn't been fixed since December. That's why I won't pay for it, right? But most people will. Exactly. That's what I'm getting at, is like, it's kind of up to people to take a stand at some point, a collective stand, and go. And that's another thing I just kind of hit on, Psych. We were talking about EA just a second ago. You know, I was a huge fan of the NHL games for many years, 4 to 5 years in a row. Man, I was pre-ordering NHL on PlayStation, and it got to a point where I could see every year the quality of the game was kind of dipping. You know, and it was either dipping or it was like a combination of the quality was dipping. They were not making improvements on certain things that I felt needed to be improved on. They were having more of a focus on their like hockey ultimate team stuff, which was just an additional way for them to try to make money off people. And it was, in my eyes, not worth supporting EA anymore. So as much as I loved the game, I just couldn't support that dev anymore. You know, it was like, this is terrible, right? Uh, but yeah, you're exactly right. Like, it keeps happening because people keep supporting, and I mean, that's why. I mean, and it's like it's kind of like Elden Ring is a great game. I'm gonna bring this up real quick. Elden Ring's a great game. There's a lot of great content in that game. There's also a lot of mechanics in the game and stuff that they've right exactly. Yeah, 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 yeah. And I think that there's just I'm gonna give an example here of you know playing through that game. There was the PC port was terrible. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Right. The PC port was terrible. I've voiced my opinion over and over about that. I had people come in and try to try to stand up a little bit for From and be like, well, they've never really had good people. What? That's not acceptable. That's not, and I didn't know that really. To be honest, I've never been a big Soulsborne player, but um, if a game's getting announced on a platform for release, I expect it to be developed for that platform, right? And it felt terrible. The PC port felt terrible. But not just that, there was just like quality of life stuff in the game that felt very overlooked and stuff. And I feel like a lot of people were overlooking the fact that the developer from software uh, missed a lot of stuff in the game. I feel there was a lot of good content in the game. There's a lot of quality of life stuff in the game and mechanics that I feel were a bit janky that I feel like a lot of community just was like, but it's a Soulsborne game and it's from software and they can't do anything wrong. And I'm like, that doesn't make any, that's not the way this should be looked at. Um, so that's one of the things that really threw me off about playing through that game. It feels like that's the attitude a lot of people have. So it's just like, well, it's okay. Just let them get away with it. And that feels terrible. I will not pre-order another From Software game on PC. I will not do it. Really? Yeah. All about how Elden Ring was the best game of all time. He was saying as somebody who wasn't a fan of the Souls games. Uh, I'm just indifferent about the Souls games. It's like, yeah, yeah, and I can understand that. I can understand because people that are passionate about that game, they are really passionate about that game, and they'll get upset. They'll get upset. You know, I just had so many issues that I found. And again, there was really good content in it, but I just feel like people just overlook the negative parts of it because of who the developer is and what the game is, and that's just not good. It's not good for the industry as a whole. People have been doing that kind of stuff for too long, and it's just not good for us as gamers, as a gaming community, to allow developers to get away with stuff like that. I don't expect every game to be perfect, right? But when you're bringing in like a targeting system that has been used since Dark Souls 1 and it hasn't been improved at all, what? Dark Souls 1 is like almost 12 years old now, 11 to 12 years old, and you're still using the same targeting system? It's absolutely broken and trash. But yeah, that's true. You're true. Yeah, you're right. I'm just trying to get to the point of, I mean, you know me, man. I'm always going to be advocating for a better world for us as gamers, right? And it's not going to get better if we don't stand up, make a stand. I will not pre-order another From Software game on PC. I won't do it. There's no way. There's no flipping way. It felt bad, and that's all it takes for me. getting that experience. There you go. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I give me that bad experience, and you know, I just need that bad experience once. You know what I mean? To tell me not to buy into that again. I'm not gonna do it again. You're not gonna get me twice, man. You're not gonna get me twice. So, but it is going to take a collective of people standing up to these devs that are just. And I'm not saying that From Software is making just terrible games or anything, but I feel like they have some improvement to do. Elden Ring wasn't bad. It wasn't good on PC, that's for sure. The PC release was not acceptable in my opinion. Not acceptable. Moving on. Um, FTC must enforce antitrust laws to prevent these large mergers. Otherwise, the entire market will be captive to a few greedy companies who continue to shamelessly overcharge. Can't beat PoE? Path of Exile? Yeah. Additionally, video game industry needs to analyze and reflect more on the history of its products. I'm trolling.
Shut your fire hole, buddy.
I know what you meant. I know what you meant. Sykes talking about pillars, everybody. Pillars of eternity. It wouldn't be just be helpful in order to examine the rising costs of video gaming. It would also help to review toxic workplace cultures, which have been alleged in many developer offices, Telltale and Ubisoft. Toxic gamer communities and why some features are popular, like skill trees, while others have disappeared entirely, like couch co-op. Industry has seen many improvements in the last decade, but it also has also substantially worsened. Gaming industry acts as a microcosm for modern corporate behavior, endless horizontal integration, and corporate consolidation. Holds shareholder profits above all other priorities, including product quality and consumer satisfaction. Forebodes the souring company-customer relationship in all industries, not just gaming. That's why it's so important to care. Video gaming is a huge, diverse market. The stories that define it may seem like immature, petty squabbles, but they reflect a more sinister problem of how avarice is motivating developers and false expectations excite gamers. With these two irreconcilable, unaligned interests, the industry will continue to spiral through outrage and spring from one dissatisfaction to the next as greed governs gaming. It already is, man. We talk about, and that's the big issue with and they touched on this. That's the big issue with these companies absorbing all these smaller companies, right? Uh, Not only does it get away from competition, but it gets rid of these smaller devs, which tend to show less interest in just being concerned of money and also having a concern of creating quality games and experiences for us as the consumer and fans of games, right? What I will say is I feel like Activision Blizzard needed to be bought. So if a company was going to buy Activision Blizzard, the more I find out about Microsoft's gaming division and some of the people at the top of it and some of the things that they say, for disclaimer, for a large company and that's in the gaming industry, I feel like they haven't totally lost sight of what gaming is about for how big they are. Okay. I have at least a bit of respect for some of the things that I have found out about Microsoft over the past year or two, and some of the people at the top and their thoughts and processes on still being gamer-centric minded, okay? There is no doubt that Microsoft is money-minded, okay? There is no doubt about that. But I think that if there was a company that was going to buy out Blizzard Activision, which I think needed to happen, that company was drowning in controversy. It was mismanaged. There was toxicity everywhere. And I think Microsoft was one of the better, if not best, options of a company to take over and turn it around. So we'll see. We'll see. That's just my thought and how I kind of see what happened there. It's still absolutely absurd how much money they were just like, oh yeah, I got 68 billion sitting in my pocket. Here you go. No big deal. That's an absurd amount of money. Absurd. But that just shows you how much money is just being cycled through the video game industry, right? It's just a massive amount of money. Here we go. Pennsylvania man becomes the 11th Pac-Man player to get perfect score. I love that these games are still being played in a competitive level. Isn't that wild? Pennsylvania man becomes the 11th Pac-Man player to get a perfect score. How long do you think you'd be trying at this? Now, I've also read some stuff where people have rigged the game up to make it easier for them to get this kind of stuff done. I've read about that kind of stuff. A Pennsylvania man joined the ranks of the video game elite by becoming one of only 11 people worldwide to achieve a perfect score in classic arcade game Pac-Man. Jake Goldberg completed all 256 levels of the 1980 arcade game in 4 hours, 12 minutes, and racked up 3,333,360 points. Would it not have been cool if these were just all threes? The highest score possible in the game. Twin Galaxies, the record-keeping organization for video games, said Goldberg is one of only 11 people in the world to have achieved a perfect score in Pac-Man. Goldberg said he is aiming to get the highest possible score in arcade game Galaga, and a feat that would make him more than 16... that would take more than 16 consecutive hours to achieve. Cool. Hey, man, congratulations to Jake Goldberg. That's sick, man. That's awesome. Only 11 people have done this. That's pretty wild. NFL football goes VR on PlayStation and Quest this fall. National Football League is taking a stab at first-person football again, 18 years after NFL 2K5 toyed with the concept. The league and developer Status Pro are making NFL Pro Era the first American football video game for virtual reality headsets, launching this fall. Excuse me. NFL Pro Era will be available for Quest and PlayStation VR headsets. A video announcing the game at Wednesday's Quest Gaming Showcase gave viewers a sense of what to expect. Lamar Jackson, the Baltimore Ravens quarterback, took players into the huddle, then the line of scrimmage where they called and adjusted the play in first person. After looking downfield, the user spears the primary receiver with a high arcing pass to the back of the end zone. News release from Status Pro said game modes will let players lead your team to a Super Bowl, improve your quarterback skills by participating in drills, or play catch virtually with your friends in your favorite NFL stadium. NFL Pro Era appears to be played from the quarterback position only. Okay. Game is fully licensed by the league and the NFL Players Association, meaning all rosters will be game day authentic. Experience is so real that fans will be blown away by the play action and truly feel like a professional athlete. Feels bad, dude, that they are only letting people play as a quarterback. That's kind of odd. I'm guessing they will continue to incorporate more position play as the game moves forward, but not everybody wants to be a quarterback. NFL Pro Era will be the first fully licensed NFL video game on a console and not published by EA since 2004. 18 years. Again, this is good. Competition. We need this. EA Sports Madden series has held an exclusive license to realistic action simulation NFL video games on consoles or PC since then. As NFL Pro Era demonstrates, virtual reality football games are an exception to this, whether on a console or otherwise. EA and the NFL renewed their deal, reportedly to be $1.5 billion in 2020, on terms that still allowed for 2K Sports to announce multiple non-simulation football game experiences, such as arcade-style games similar to Blitz, a trademark EA owns. Good night, man. EA. Okay. Staying for that's not the title. Amid shut your mouth. Amid losses, NFL. Sorry, I'm still stuck in the previous article. It's like, yeah, dude. Amid losses, NFL. I did it again, dude. I can't. I can't quit saying NFL now. Amid losses, Netflix bets on a bold strategy around video games. I pulled this up earlier. What's funny is we just were talking about this in one of our previous news segments, and then I was actually on Imager the other night, and somebody had posted this. Check this out. Check that out. So we were talking about Netflix has seen some really like their subscriber base is getting kind of wrecked right now. Um, you like that? You like that? We were talking. We just brought up another article the other day talking about how Netflix is seeing a really like a huge dip in their subscriber base. I brought up the fact that I have noticed I'm not seeing near as much content that I'm satisfied with as a subscriber as of probably the last half year, if not the last year. And some of our other community were bringing up the same fact. They haven't been as content or satisfied with content provided by Netflix as a subscriber, as a consumer of their subscription, right? Oh, that's good. That's good, Psych. Yeah, just personally, I used to. What I'll say is, I used to feel like most of the time, if I wanted to find something to watch, I would. Netflix was my go-to, right? I would brought in more content since November. Um, Man, I don't know. Um, all I can say is that it used to always be my go-to, and I used to always feel like hopping in Netflix. I was pretty sure I would be able to find something that would be pretty entertaining for me, and like I said, over about the past half year to a year, I've gotten to the point where it's like if I want to sit down and watch something, I still will go to Netflix first because I think that's just muscle memory for me. And but now whenever I sit down and I'm like accessing the app, I quite often will go, probably not going to find anything that I feel like watching. A lot of the stuff I've watched that I'm interested in watching, I've already watched, and I don't feel like rewatching stuff. I want to watch new content. And anything that I find that I think I might be interested in watching, like I'll start watching it, and I'm just like, this isn't grasping me, you know? And I'll go look for something else. That's just the way it seems to me right now. I don't know why. And Mamzelle was actually kind of saying that she's had some issues with Netflix here lately too. And I mean, this is actually realistic. Wick, we were having this discussion the other day, and Wick looked up. Yeah, yeah, probably. I mean, I think it's just gotten to the point of where like I'm constantly looking at other services to find things to watch. I just haven't. I haven't found the level of entertainment and shows that I used to find in Netflix. I think is the thing, you know. I guess, dude. I guess. Um, I don't feel like the quantity and quality of content that used to find in Netflix is there for me anymore. You know, and I think part of it probably has to do with there were definitely some shows that I used to watch a lot that I was okay with rewatching. Like uh, I loved The Office, and now The Office isn't on Netflix anymore. It's on Paramount, I think. Right. So like if I couldn't find something to watch, I would go to certain shows and rewatch shows. Right. Like I liked watching The Office, and I would rewatch The Office if I couldn't find something. And now it's not on there anymore, so that might have part to do with it, right? Well, yeah, and that's why I'm getting at what I'm getting at right now. And that might be part of the issue for me is that like some of those shows that I used to always go back and like binge on, and I was cool with rewatching, aren't there anymore. And that might be part of my issue. Um, yeah, yeah, and I mean I have Prime, and that's what I'm saying is like Netflix was just always my go-to, and I feel like I've just lost it as kind of my go-to now. Yo, Metal, what's up, dude? How are you, buddy? It's just, I mean, I can't help but express how I'm not. I mean, I'm still a subscriber. I I still will occasionally find things that I watch on there and stuff. It's just uh, harder. It seems harder for me now to find content that I'm able to stay entertained with on there. Yeah, yeah. It's just for some reason it's just I'm just not as entertained with what content they have on their service right now. It's just not, you know. And but this had come up. Apparently, their service their subscriber base has dipped quite a bit, and I found this kind of comical because we came up with this. Basically they were talking. There was an article that came up the other day, and the reason Netflix is coming up because they're pivoting into the gaming world, right? That's why Netflix is coming up in our news segment. Netflix is pivoting into the gaming world. We've talked about that previously as well. An article came up the other day talking about how their subscriber base was dipping. They're trying to pivot into gaming to try to help raise their stuff up. Yo, Randall, what is that, dude? My avatar? That is terrifying. That is nightmare fuel, dude. I've never seen that emote. Rando emote time, by the way. That is terrifying. I have never seen that. Good lord. You straight up did, dude. You straight up. On my chat, mine came in first, man. What? Okay. Yo, I need to remember Grammar King for whenever Cash comes in and corrects my grammar. Nice, dude. All right, dude. That my avatar is horrific. That is some nightmare fuel. Good night. Yeah, but I mean, I just found it funny that I was on Imager. I was just browsing Imager real quick the other night on my phone, and I saw this, and I was like, I gotta download this and throw it in Discord, man, in the memes section because we were just talking about this. But I mean, it's funny, but Netflix is dealing with some stuff right now. And this is the article we pulled up this morning, right? Amid losses, Netflix bets on a bold strategy around video games. And I mean, they've been buying some devs. They're throwing all their stuff on their app. We've already read about the fact they've got like not only Exploding Kittens game on their app they're releasing, but they have a show that's coming out based around it as well, right? Um, Here's the thing. Obviously, the video game industry can capital letters can be very lucrative, right? And obviously, hopping into the gaming industry is easier if you have capital to invest, you have a name to build upon, things of that nature, right? But that does not guarantee you that you're going to be successful in the gaming industry. Um, you legit need to get some people behind you that know what they're doing and have. Usually, you need to get people behind you that have been successful already and know how the industry works and can, help you get some nicely developed applications and games to really start getting the ball rolling behind your gaming division, right? Um, we'll see how it goes for Netflix. They've already what was the Boss Fight? They just acquired Boss Fight, the developer Boss Fight. They're kind of jumping in with both feet here because I think they can see that their streaming service is dipping and they're pivoting pretty hard into gaming. I don't know if it's going to be sustainable for them or not, but this is the direction they're heading. Netflix has been betting big on gaming after announcing its intentions to explore the video gaming space last July. Streaming service hired multiple executives to significant positions on its gaming vertical over the past few months, while releasing mobile games like Stranger Things 1984. Netflix is looking at content opportunities around video games from every direction. Source familiar with the company's thinking told the Washington Post. Platform's latest move is to turn the show to video game pipeline on its head, announcing it will take popular tabletop card game Exploding Kittens, and produce both TV show and mobile game. Yep, that's what we just talked about. Video games have grown more prominent on the streaming service, whether it's with a TV show turned game like Stranger Things or a video game turned TV show like the Arcane animated series. Now, Arcane is sick. I will promote the crap out of this show. If you have not watched Arcane, and shout out to I think it was our buddy Mad that came through and actually promoted, was like telling us to watch this in the first place, like right after it released. Arcane is an animated series based on the League of Legends world, right? It is a great show. There's only one season right now, but in my opinion, the animation's great, the story's fantastic, the music is insane. They did a great job with this show. It is on Netflix. Check it out. It is great. That's probably one I should go back and watch right there. Netflix has also delved into third-party. Metal. Fantastic. Arcane is sick. League of Legends is for sick people. That's funny, dude. Animated series based on League of Legends. Netflix has also delved into third-party game development and original games, though the timeline for releasing its own games is much further out. Netflix's latest games news comes from just as the company's stock lost more than a third of its value Wednesday. A day after reporting its first quarterly loss of subscribers in a decade, servers said it lost 700,000 subscribers after pulling out of Russia following the invasion of Ukraine. Oh, really? Wow. Well, look, that's unfortunate, but I applaud them. That's unfortunate, but I applaud them. And they probably knew they were going to take a big hit for doing this. Okay? I don't think there's any way that Netflix didn't know they were going to take a substantial hit for pulling out of Russia. And they did it anyways. And good on them. Good on them. Now, here's the thing. This is the really tough part about this war in general, right? We see things. We see this kind of stuff happening all the time. Where, look, you can't blame the entire population of Russia for what's happening between what their government is doing on invading Ukraine, right? But many of it's a very difficult situation. It's very difficult. Go Ukraine. Okay. Support Ukraine. And the thing that's tough is that there are a lot of people in Russia that are against the war, right? But there are also a lot of people in Russia that are against the war that are suffering because of what their country is doing, invading Ukraine. And that's unfortunate, right? Um, it Again, it's very difficult. It's very difficult. Um, I don't know what the answer is. I don't. I don't know if pulling like pulling. I don't know. I don't know if this was the only option was like pulling out of Russia, right? Or if maybe they could have just started doing some like stayed within Russia to still um, allow people to be part of their streaming service, but then maybe have some um, say that like all like what like all the subscriptions coming in from Russia, all the profit would go to support Ukraine or something. I don't know what they could do there. You know what I mean? I have no idea. Would that have been an option? Rather than just all that money get lost out, if they're actually in support of Ukraine, would that have been an option? I don't know. I don't know. Um, Netflix's wild entry into gaming was an indication that it needs to look beyond video streaming to keep its business humming, said Joost van Drunen, a lecturer on the business of games at the NYU Stern School of Business. The announcement of a cross-category launch of Exploding Kittens shows Netflix's willingness to try new things, but it is not the type of release that is going to save the farm, for sure. As Netflix blames password sharing and high competition from platforms like Disney Plus and Hulu, it's eyeing gaming as the next big opportunity. While the company is focused on creating more hit shows like Squid Game and Bridgerton, it's also buying gaming studios with a future-facing blueprint. But like we said, they just bought Boss Fight developer. Here's the thing: they can't just blame account sharing. People have been account sharing Netflix since Netflix started their streaming service. That's just the reality of it. We've been doing these small acquisitions to build up the know-how and the creative chops to be able to make some really great gains. Netflix CEO Reed Hastings said during the Tuesday earnings call. So far, Netflix has purchased 3 game studios, acquisitions of Texas-based mobile firm Boss Fight, right there, we were just talking about, and Finland developer Next Games were announced in March. I'd forgotten about Next Games. I apologize. Last September, the streaming service acquired Night School Studio, which I don't think I remember reading about that one, which made the supernatural adventure game Oxenfree. Next Games released Stranger Things Puzzle Tales last year prior to its acquisition news. Purchases come at a time when the gaming industry is buzzing with merger deals, which we know of, like we were already talking about today with Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard, Sony buying Bungie. Analysts are predicting further consolidation in the gaming space as game publishers try to stay competitive. Yeah. Within this ecosystem, Netflix is looking to build out a games business that can create synergy between what people watch and what they're playing. That includes adapting video games like Castlevania. Castlevania is actually, I did watch through that recently, and Castlevania is fantastic. I enjoyed that immensely. So if you haven't watched Castlevania on Netflix, I would recommend. League of Legends, Dota, Cuphead, The Witcher. Witcher's actually fantastic too. I would recommend that. And more into shows while also adapting shows into games and tacking its name onto third-party titles. For instance, Netflix branded a League of Legends spin-off game made by a third-party developer, Choice Provisions, as a Netflix mobile game. Netflix is planned to stick with mobile games for now as it begins to explore the gaming world, according to source familiar with its plans. The company will offer nearly 50 mobile games by the end of the year. Netflix's mobile games can be found in the Apple App Store for iOS users and the Google Play Store for Android users, though only Netflix subscribers can access the games. There you go. Got to subscribe to get into those games, right? Netflix app currently advertises its games alongside TV shows and movies. To pull up all the games more readily, users can search for games within the app, and results for games like Stranger Things 1984 will appear with a prompt to download them. Uh, that's just about the hires they've made for their gaming pivot. Exploding Kittens game is slated to release next month. So we'll keep track. Uh, yeah, the rest of that's just about Exploding Kittens. So their Exploding Kittens game will release next month. There's going to be a show that goes alongside with it. It's an animated show for adults, so I'm guessing it's going to be rated M for mature, probably. It's not animated for kids; it's animated for adults. So I'm guessing rated M for mature, but we'll have to see how it goes. We'll have to see how it goes. Look, what I was talking about with Netflix before. I'm not saying I dislike their service or anything. If I didn't like their service, I wouldn't have a subscription to it. I was just trying to get the point across that I'm not currently finding as many shows that I'm interested in as I used to, I guess. Yeah, but I think part of it might hinge on the fact that I don't necessarily have maybe some of those shows, and it just kind of maybe hit me that I might not have some of those shows on Netflix anymore that I used to be able to rewatch quite often if I wasn't finding new content, right? So that might be part of it. I just didn't realize that until right now. So I don't know. We'll keep tabs and we'll see. We'll see. Um, Anybody else have anything good for the? Well, I'm just not again, I mean, I have had stuff recently that I've watched that I've enjoyed, like Castlevania. The new season of The Witcher was really good. I love both seasons of The Witcher. Arcane's been excellent, but Arcane was like what quarter three of last year. Uh, so there have been some good things, just not. I don't feel like there's been quite as consistent quality shows that I've been into. That's it. That's it. So I'm not as happy with their service as I have been in the past, for sure. Yeah, yeah. And I didn't realize that the big dip in their subscriber base was because they pulled out of Russia. I didn't know that until we just read that. And I mean, kudos to them for making a stand. Yeah, and supporting Ukraine. I I'm about that. I'm about that. So, um, good stuff. I mean, I don't know if maybe they could have again done something different to maybe keep the subscriber base and because not everybody in Russia is part of that war and for that war and maybe done something to keep the subscriber base and put a lot of that profit towards helping Ukraine. I don't know. I have no idea what the ins and outs and details were of that situation. No idea. No idea. But at least they're showing that they support Ukraine and don't support Russia and uh, Russia's government and what Russia's government's doing in invading Ukraine. I think that's important. That's important. Um, if nobody has anything else, I think that's it for the news segment, and we'll be moving on to doing our gameplay. Yo, gamer, what's up, buddy? How are you, dude? Um, so we'll be playing Lost Ark today and tomorrow. We'll be back to doing our Slay the Spire runs on Monday. I don't know if we'll be playing Slay the Spire all week next week, but a good portion of it anyway. If you are not catching this live, if you're catching this on YouTube, then I would ask that maybe if you're enjoying the content, you consider hitting that like and subscribe button and maybe even leave a comment and we can have a bit of a discussion in the comments. And consider coming down and checking out the content live. We go live at 6 a.m. Central North American time every single day. And we always do the news before we hop into our gaming segment. So If you are catching this on YouTube, if you're not moving on to the gaming segment right now, then stay healthy, stay safe, and be kind to one another. And hopefully we will catch you very, very soon. All right.